Marie's Memoirs.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Marie's Memoirs. Today on my VIP meet and greets we have got Nikkita, who is the CEO and founder of a company called Young Spender. Hi Nikkita, welcome.
Hi. So my name's Nikkita and I'm the founder of Young Spender. Young Spender offers financial education to young people. Young people specifically because they're very left out in society. You know, you go to school and they tell you to get a job, but then when you get this job, what do you do with the money? You know, how do you manage yourself? You know, what are you actually supposed to do with this money that you earn? So that's why Young Spender was founded, to help young people with their money management and helping them get on the road to where we all want to be, which is financial freedom.
No, most definitely. I think that's an amazing incentive. And like you said before, we as soon as we leave school, we're like, yeah, we're going to get a job. We want to get some money so we can buy what we want. But nobody really tells you, apart from your parents saying, save your money, make sure you save your money for a rainy day. No one actually explains kind of like, well, why exactly you should. And here are the intricate details that you need to pay attention to. But hopefully all of these intricate kind of questions and myth busting is what I want to do today in regards to student finance for the focus. So in regards to getting a student loan, what exactly is the process of it?
So the process starts with, you have to apply through Student Finance England. And you apply for 2 sets of loans. So your tuition fee, which pays the university for your learning essentially, which is that like 9k a year. And then there's the maintenance loan, which covers fees such as your rent, your food, just like your general day-to-day living expenses. And with the tuition loan, anybody can get that. So, you know, when you're a British citizen, when you're living in the UK, things like that, you can get the tuition fee loan. But then with the maintenance loan, that's means tested. So it depends on your household income. So the more your household income, the less maintenance loan that you're likely to receive.
Right. That would make sense, because it's kind of like looking at it as like, how much can your parents afford or your carers afford? And then it's just like, we'll just bump it up as the government, they'll just bump it up so that, you know, it's kind of like, it levels up with everybody else so that you're not kind of like left out. Now that makes sense. And okay, so do you need a student account in order to receive student loans? Because I've seen so many different kinds of incentives on student accounts, but somebody said to me when I was years back applying for my undergrad, that, you know, you need a student account, and someone said you don't need one. What's the truth?
So you don't actually need to have a student account. So they're called a student account, so students think I have to have it, but you know, just your normal current account that you have with your bank that you've had for many years, your student loan and your maintenance loan can actually just get paid into that. You can still be a student without the student bank account, so it's not something that you have to have. So yeah, you don't actually have to have it, as much as it's, you know, called student account. You don't have to have it.
So essentially it's just another product with incentives, if you care for the incentives that student account with that bank has.
Yeah, so for example, like some people go for it for the incentive of like a rail card, and then
yes, that good old rail card, the third app.
Exactly. And also they sometimes come with overdrafts as well, so like 0% interest overdrafts, which are quite foggy, to be honest, because some people need them and some people don't. But at the same time, if you think that you need the overdraft, think to yourself, why do you need it? Is it because you want to be going out all the time, or is it because you just genuinely can't afford to live within your means without the overdraft? But if you are somebody that manages your money well and things like that, you may not even need the overdraft. And even though it's called 0 well, it could be a 0% overdraft, you still do need to repay it. So for example, if you take out an overdraft for £2,000 and you use up that whole £2,000, you still need to pay that £2,000 even though there's no interest on it.
Yeah, because it's still borrowed money.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's funny, to be fair, because the way how some of maybe like as people have gone through education, and you'll hear people talk about their overdrafts like it's their own money, and it's like, you do know that's not free money, it's a loan. Like you still have to pay it all back, and then you've got interest, like you said, like on top of that. And that's when it gets really sticky, because it's like there's no money that's free money when it comes to loans and the rest of it. Like it's not. And it's kind of like being careful of those buzzwords and making sure you understand, like, okay, what is the criteria for this? What is let me ask you the questions instead of me babbling on.
It's important to know exactly what you're getting yourself into, rather than just thinking it sounds great. You know, on the surface, it sounds really good. It sounds like, oh, I'm just getting £2,000 for free, but it doesn't work like that. So,
no. That's You have to kind of see it as like an investment. You're gonna have to pay it back. It's gonna have to get repaid.
Exactly.
Okay, so then in regards to picking out a student account, so I'm a student, for example, and I know what university I want to go to. I'm doing all that whole process. What should I look out for in regards to student accounts? Like any red flags, or the purpose of like max loans available? Should I look into that, or like what should I look out for?
Not red flags as such, but you know, for example, with the overdraft, you actually need it, because you need to make that repayment around the time that you graduate. So just consider if you really need something like that, because it could just become really, really long. If you don't repay those 3 or 4 years, then you need to get a graduate account, and you're still repaying the same student loan. Imagine 3, 4, 5, 6 years and you still have this thing just following you. So even though there may be like these perks involved, just consider if it's something that you are able to handle, you can manage. If it's something that you really need, because you don't want to get it and start buying like trainers' clothes and just going out and things like that.
I mean, so many people do, but that is not the purpose, and you kind of need to make sure that you know why this money is coming in. It's to help with your studies. Like, keep the main thing.
I've even heard of people using it to buy a car, and I'm just like, okay, it's an interesting one.
Yeah. It definitely is. Oh no, that definitely brings back memories of people going. The thing is, like, when the students have got their loans, because a lot of companies will do like sales around that same time, flash student sales, because they know every quarter that money's coming in, those students are looking to spend, because they haven't been able to spend for a minute. So they're going to be getting all their designer sneakers, bags, all this stuff, and just, popping bottles wherever they can. It's just definitely keep the main thing.
Yeah, and students need to understand that a lot of things, and young people in general, a lot of these financial products are targeted at them, because it's always things that they like. Like, for example, with places like uni days that do student discount, I've realized that their marketing is in the evening. They send you their emails in the evening, when you're like, when you finished your lectures and things like that. Now the marketing's hit, the emails come, you're gonna probably buy something. And then even things like Klarna, like the buy now pay later, it's with clothes, shoes, things like that, things that young people really like. So just to understand that you are their target. They are targeting you for a reason, because they know that you're going to spend. So if you're somebody that can't really control yourself, maybe unsubscribe from those marketing emails. Also, just budget your money so you know that you basically don't have any more left to spend. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, factor in things like buying new clothes and things like that, but when you can afford it,
No, that makes sense. And just make sure that if you're going to, just be, what's the word? It's not frugal, but frugal with the way how you are spending on unrequired items. You don't need it. It's not a necessity.
exactly.
Kind of think twice and then think again if you need it.
Yeah.
If not, keep your money in your bank, okay? Because you
Can't
might
afford it,
need
like,
some
3
extra
times.
noodles next
Yeah,
week.
if you can't pay it like 3 times over, maybe think, oh, do I actually have the money for this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because one of the things that I often do is if I know that, you know, when there's like a good sale,
Yeah.
and then you put a few things in your basket, and when I know I don't need it, I just leave it in the basket. And the next day when I come back to it, I just delete them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I would have bought it in that moment, but it's kind of like training your mind to be like,
Yeah.
do you need it?
You need it.
Don't.
Exactly.
When you leave it and you realize, hey, this is in my basket, I don't actually need that. And you just take it straight back out.
Yeah, but then sometimes the company will send you an email and be like, you left this in your basket, and you'll be like,
They do. They really do.
like,
Oh my, no, they really do. Oh,
Yeah.
they're good. Oh, they're good.
Yeah, they know how to get you. They know how to get you. Yeah.
And I'm a postgrad, so I'm sitting there like, oh yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So in regards to loans that students have to take out, are there any grants still available within the UK?
Yeah, so there's a few. So there's a special support grant, there's also bursaries, and there's also scholarships which could be considered a grant. So the special support grant is usually awarded to single parents or those with a disability. Bursaries are given to those from a low income household, and the threshold is usually given by the individual institution, university, so it varies. And scholarships are usually awarded to outstanding students. So we always hear about it, like with Americans, like those that play basketball, they get awarded a scholarship. We sort of have the same thing here, so it's just best to do your research, find out if you are eligible for a scholarship. If you're ever offered one, that'd be great, so then you don't need to repay that tuition fee loan. So yeah. And you don't need to pay them back, so that's great. Yeah.
It definitely is. It really is. Because for my master's, actually, I got a 20% scholarship. I don't know how they figured it out. I was just grateful. I had received the letter and I was very happy. I was like, oh yes, less to pay back. Whereas some of the international students that were on my course, the ones that were in America, and yes, they did basketball, but they got 100% scholarship, like completely free. Yeah.
So it varies.
Yeah.
It does vary, but you know, anything is better than nothing.
Yeah. And so with grants and bursaries and scholarships, can we confirm that this is actually money that you do not have to pay back? It's almost like a gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With no strings attached.
Yeah, no strings attached. Yeah.
Okay.
Always read the terms and conditions as well, though. You never know. People like to change things. But when it's called a grant, scholarship, or a bursary, you shouldn't need to pay it back.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's good to know. So I've heard of students. So we know that the tuition fees in the UK have kind of skyrocketed over the last few years. And some people have kind of referred to it as a mortgage. So is it possible that you would be paying back your student loan for the rest of your life?
For most people in the UK, because obviously it depends if you're an international student, where you're from and things like that. But for most students in the UK, you only pay 9% over so when you're earning over £26,575, you only then pay 9% above that. So how can I explain it? So you're earning your 26,575, you don't pay anything.
Right.
You don't repay anything. But then say, for example, you're earning 30 grand. You're only going to pay the difference. So 9% of the difference.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're earning 30k, but you're not paying 9% on the whole 30k.
Okay.
It's only the difference between the 26,575 and the 30k. You pay 9% on that.
Okay.
So it's more like a tax rather than like calling it a mortgage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems that way because when you see your student loan, because like normally in your pay slips, you've got or your salaries, you see deductions, and then you've got your pension, your national insurance number, and then you've got your student loan as well. So it's kind of like you don't actually miss it when it's gone. It's not missable as such.
It's not like a drastic amount, and the threshold is actually increasing from 26,575 to 27,295 from April 2021. So that's the plan at the moment. So if it increases to that amount, then you've got more of a chance to not pay it back. But you want to go to university and you want to be a high earner, but this loan actually gets wiped out around, say, 30 years after. So say for example you graduate when you're 21, then you start repaying your loan the April after you graduate, because now you've hit that threshold. You're earning over that amount. When you get to the age of 52, you'll stop paying completely. It doesn't matter how much you've paid. It doesn't matter if you then start working a job where you earn lower than the threshold amount. It doesn't matter how much you've paid back. Even if you just scrape the surface, that loan will then be wiped out. So it's estimated that only around 80% of people don't actually ever repay the full student loan. But don't limit your earning potential just because you don't want to repay your student loan.
Well, like if that was actually the case, that's a rabbit hole. But yeah, just with any kind of money or anything that you borrow, always give back as soon as you can, if not straight away, but as soon as you can and as much as you can, as long as you're not kind of like in deficit. Yeah,
but with the student loan, actually, because it's taken automatically, there's not much point in paying lump sums. HMRC are going to probably hate me for this, and student finance are probably going to be like, why are you saying this? But if you start paying lump sums, you're literally just repaying amounts that you may never even need to repay. Because if you start paying lump sums, you could have saved so much money by the time you hit that, the 30-year limit, where you're only repaying this for 30 years. So say for example within that 30 years they would have automatically taken like $2,000, but then you've decided to drop an extra 3 in there. What was the point in paying that extra $3,000? There's not much point. You're just putting yourself in more of a deficit. There's no need. So it's basically best to just stick to the plan. You pay 9% of what you're earning over £26,575, which is set to increase from April 2021 to £27,295. So basically just stick to the plan, let those automatic payments come out. Do check your payslip though to make sure that they're not taking more than they're supposed to, because nobody wants that. So that's when you start checking.
No, that makes sense. So so I have another question. I think it might be a myth buster one. I think it is a myth buster one, but say for example, I don't know if you can actively stop paying your student loan, but if that was an option, would you have bailiffs in your coming to your house? Somebody asked me that question the other day. I said, I don't think you can stop the payments, but I don't know. So this is what I'm asking you. So is there an option to stop paying your student loan? And if so, would you get bailiffs at your door?
So because it's literally automatically deducted from your salary when you hit over that threshold of £26,575, because it's an automatic thing, you can't actually control that. You can't just stop it. So the likelihood of bailiffs coming is very, 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 very low. So just let the automation happen and just check to make sure that you're not overpaying.
Okay. No, that was a decent answer. That makes sense. So what is a credit score, and does your student loan or your student debt affect that?
So a credit score basically is a number on Experian it's out of 999, for example, that shows lenders how reliable you are when making repayments. So you need your credit score when you're borrowing, whether it's taking out a phone, car finance, a mortgage, anything like that. And it actually doesn't, your student loan doesn't actually affect your credit score. But just be mindful that if you are going for like a mortgage, for example, and you're making student loan repayments, that might be considered in your mortgage application, because it just shows how much money you have going out. So it doesn't affect your credit score as such, but for example, with things like mortgages, it may be looked at.
Okay, that's not too bad. What would you say are do you have any specific apps that are easy to use for you to kind of check your credit score?
So Experian is really good. So is ClearScore as well. There's a few other ones as well, like Credit Karma, things like that. There's quite a few going around, but you know, your score essentially comes from like Experian and Equifax. So it's just best to go to those places so that you just get it straight from the horse's mouth. When you go to like ClearScore, for example, they borrow the data. Some things are missing, some things may be misinterpreted. You don't know, you know, with technology, anything can happen. So it's just best to go straight to like Experian or Equifax.
Okay. No, thanks for that. I think that's interesting. I feel like I've said that's interesting after every response. But I think I have one last question, and I think it's definitely a myth buster. So somebody I know, she did her criminology degree, very, very smart girl. And then she was talking about, after she graduated, she was talking about, you know, moving abroad, because after 5 years, if you are abroad, then you don't have to pay it back or something like that. And I was like, how does that make sense? It didn't make sense to me. And because we're talking about student loans, I thought I'd ask one of the experts. So is there any truth to that, like moving abroad and then it being written off?
So when you move abroad, of course, now you're not getting paid within the UK. So HMRC and, you know, in places like that have nothing to do with your pay. So the automatic payments will stop. However, they expect you to be honest, and they say that you should contact a student loans company so that you can arrange repayments.
Right.
So it sort of stops, but at the same time, there's not much use in trying to run away from it, because you know, say for example, you were to come back to the UK and start working, you just start working again. So it's just best to just keep up that momentum in repaying the loan.
No, that makes sense. No, thank you for clearing that up. No, I've really enjoyed this session. I've learned quite a bit, to be fair. And I do hope it's been useful for everybody who's listening. Could you let me know of your social media and where people can find you if they want to get more advice or book a session with you?
So on Instagram, it's at youngspender_. And our website is youngspender.co.uk. And if you have any general questions or anything like that, you can drop an email to hello@youngspender.co.uk, or also drop a DM on Instagram. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, those are the handles.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on Marie's Memoirs. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Marie's Memoirs.